ABC 13 Eyewitness News at 6:30. Now, breaking news.
And we are following this breaking news in League City. A pontoon plane was taking off around 5:30 this evening, but went down on the water. You are taking a look at the fuselage from this video shot from Sky Eye earlier. We're told that investigators say that the pilot was able to climb out and was picked up by another boat. So some good news there for the pilot. We will continue to monitor this, and we will bring you any updates.
All right, but first, this evening, let's update you now on the breaking news we have been following all afternoon out of Liberty County. Horrible news there. A man will face capital murder charges after 5 people were shot. 3 of them were killed, and this all happened in Liberty County. The suspected shooter, Michael Wetson, is now in custody. Investigators are trying to figure out here the motive. But tonight they say he is the suspected gunman in 3 shooting scenes on the same street, County Road 4901. 2 people were dead in one house. A 3rd victim was killed in a 2nd house. And an elderly father and his adult daughter were found in a 3rd house. They were flown to the hospital. Their conditions right now unknown. We're told 2 weapons have now been recovered. We're going to keep you updated as we continue to learn more.
All right, let's talk some politics now as we turn to your voice, your vote. And as you take a look at the live picture here, it is hard to tell, but the virtual Democratic National Convention kicks off tonight with 2 hours of primetime speeches. The event built on a theme of unity, but as you can see from the live image outside, this is going to be a convention unlike any other. The coronavirus pandemic forcing Democrats to scrap their planned in-person Milwaukee convention. ABC 13's Tom Abrams has more with the changes that we can expect to see.
This is not the party Democrats had planned, but this week they are doing what they can to make the best of it, given that 2020 is full of a pandemic.
We know that this year, Texas can and will turn blue.
During this morning's virtual delegation breakfast, Texas Democrats talked about the challenges and opportunities ahead, with less than 3 months until Election Day.
We have a candidate who brings experience, compassion, caring, generosity to the White House.
Leading the delegation is the state party chair, Gilberto Hinojosa. Instead of being on the convention floor, he's in a law office on Zoom.
We are not thinking about not having these celebrations that we used to have.
He says this year everything is focused on 2 things: nominating the party's presidential and vice presidential candidates and working through the pandemic, given its impact on health care and the economy.
We are wanting to move forward and trying to find a solution to this terrible pandemic that we have today. And so that's all we're worried about.
Like Grandma always says, when they give you lemon, make lemonades.
For convention organizers, this is far different than what they planned in Milwaukee. No large crowds, no financial boost, and yet they still see the silver lining.
These are all opportunities for rethinking, reimagining how we connect with one another, how we communicate. And we have to look at this as an experience with our eye towards the future.
This is day 1. Tuesday features the roll call when Joe Biden becomes the nominee officially. Wednesday, Kamala Harris speaks. Biden closes out the convention Thursday night without the confetti and balloons in a packed arena. Tom Abrams, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
It definitely will be very different this time around. Tonight, a few big names will take the DNC stage. Top speakers include Senator Bernie Sanders, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, and former First Lady Michelle Obama.
All right, well, the Republican National Convention is scheduled to start in a week from now. That's happening next Monday, August the 24th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, according to the Washington Post, President Trump will have a role each day of that Republican National Convention. The president has said he plans to accept his party's nomination at the White House. The speakers, by the way, the list has not yet been released. Let's talk about back to school. Some school districts are starting their school year online, like Fort Bend County ISD. They did that today. School districts are still trying to get devices to students who actually need them. ABC 13 reporter Roxy Bustamante live now in Katy, where the school district is handing out even more devices today. Roxy?
outside of one of the junior high schools, and 500 parents showed up today just to get devices for their students. Now, Katy ISD told me that they have actually 31,000 students who requested those devices, and they're trying to make sure that they get those into the hands of students so they do not fall behind for the first day of school.
Very much appreciated, convenient, saved us a lot of money from having to go out and purchase another laptop.
Tay Washington says her family is one of the 43,000 in Katy ISD who have opted to stay with virtual learning for the first grading period.
I always say it's better to be safe than sorry, and if you're able to, then I say let the kids do virtual learning. Some parents aren't able to do virtual learning for various reasons, I think it's just to do what's best for each family.
Washington is working from home too. She says both of her two children needed their own devices. That's why she's here in line along with hundreds of other families. Katy ISD will start the first 3 weeks online, then return to the classroom in September, but about half of the students have chosen to stay virtual this fall. From March to today, Katy ISD has received 31,000 requests for laptops, and the district believes they will be able to meet the demand.
We're committed to ensuring our students in Katy ISD have all the resources that they need in order to start that virtual environment on Wednesday, the 19th. Our teachers have been training and preparing for a solid week. With all of those trainings, they're going to be able to put that into practice on Wednesday.
Now, parents still have time to fill out that request form if they need a device. You can find that on Katy ISD School District's website. Reporting live, Roxy Bustamante, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
A lot of laptops, and speaking of Katy, it is far from alone in distributing laptops. Districts all over the area have given out tens of thousands of devices as students return online to school.
Yeah, but Art, our 13 Investigates team says that the computer is not the hardest part. Ted Oberg joining us live after looking into the 500,000 Texas students who were not fully engaged in online learning last year. Ted?
Yeah, Art and Alona, you can lead a kid to a computer, but you necessarily can't make them learn, right? I think as parents, we all know that. These 500,000 kids, they didn't vanish, but they certainly didn't show up in class, and sometimes schools just lost contact with them. In HISD, this is what the numbers look like. Every one of those red icons there is a representation of a kid that just wasn't fully engaged in online learning. It's nearly 1 out of every 4 kids, and in HISD, that's 2.5 times the state average. It's 50,000 kids in Houston alone. So who are those kids? Well, we know a little bit about how old they are. Look at this. They're the younger kids who weren't fully engaged more than the older kids. Those kindergartners, first graders, second graders, they're the ones who are learning to read, learning to write, learning the basics of arithmetic. And experts say those are the ones that are so vital to get engaged.
Think about a K through or first or second grade student who's in their formative years of reading instruction or math instruction. And this is going to have a long-term effect. So I think what we're going to have to do is rethink about what school looks like when it goes back to somewhat normal, and make sure that we're providing the opportunities for students to be able to catch up and learn those skills.
Which is why tonight at 10, we're looking at more about who these 500,000 kids are and how important it is to get them all back in the classroom this year, either virtual or a real classroom. There's just no more time to wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's really shocking to sort of see that age breakdown. So, Ted, besides getting the computers out to the kids, what are districts doing to help get them online and get them engaged?
Well, one of the things they've done to try and make it easier for parents, Alona, is sort of drop the number of platforms we all have to learn, right? Last year it was Teams or Zoom or Blue Jeans or who knows what. Now most districts have limited that to 1. The other big thing, and we'll talk a lot about this tonight at 10, is that the state has forced districts to get those kids in class, otherwise they don't get paid.
Okay, well, and certainly both of those different points should be making a pretty big impact. Is this a problem all over the state, or are we just seeing that trend in some of the biggest cities?
There is some indication that bigger cities may have a bigger problem, but it is by no means limited to the big cities in our state. At 10 o'clock, we'll break down the top 3 districts in the Houston area. We will also show you a little bit more about who these kids are and why they are some of the most at-risk kids in our state who weren't fully engaged last year. Plus, you will meet some people who will give you and these children, these students who aren't fully engaged, some hope in a time when hope is just sometimes hard to find. We'll see you tonight at 10, Alona.
All right, an important discussion, Ted. We will see you then.
Good information. Thank you, Ted. All right, let's get you caught up now with all of the latest numbers on COVID-19, specifically right here in Houston. Mayor Turner announcing 354 new cases today. Just 2 days ago, we saw the cases nearly double that number, so this is certainly a good sign. The total number of cases in the city of Houston is now more than 58,000.
Today through the 26th, the landlords can enroll in the Houston Rental Assistance Program administered by Baker Ripley. And to qualify, the landlords' units must be inside the city of Houston. They must agree to waive all late fees and interest, refrain from evictions through September 2020.
All right, the mayor there talking about the second launch here, today's launch of the second rental relief program. It comes at a time where Houstonians still struggling, as you heard there from the mayor, to pay rent. Landlords can apply right now, and renters can apply 1 week from now. An important thing here to note is only renters whose landlords applied to be part of the program will be able to get rental relief. Both landlords and renters will have to be willing participants here. You can apply on the county's website.
Captain Searcy is in the fight for his life, and that everybody within the Houston Fire Department is here for the family, is fighting for you, Tommy, and you don't stop.
A Houston fire captain battling COVID-19. More on what his family is now begging doctors to do.
Houston firefighters say one of their own is in a fight for his life, and they are leaning on his doctors and a drug company to approve an experimental drug. HFD Captain Tommy Searcy is just 45 years old. He has been in the ICU now for days on a ventilator and blood scrubbing machines, and doctors say his condition is worsening. Well, today the fire union and his family are begging his doctors and NeuroRx, a Delaware drug company, to approve the use of something called RLF-100. That's an experimental drug that the company says has shown promise in treating COVID patients' lungs.
Time is not on our side, and we are going to do everything it takes. I don't care how long it takes to get somebody to move. We just need to ensure that we give Captain Searcy the best chance to continue to fight this.
At last check, Searcy's doctors at Memorial Hermann were still working on the paperwork to get that experimental medication approved.
Afternoon traffic now with Elisa Rivas.
Monitoring your drive late this evening in 2 important locations. Outbound on the East Freeway at Dell. An accident has 2 lanes blocked. As you can see, the congestion really causing a backup for those of you headed outbound toward the Baytown area. Also in downtown, westbound on I-10, there is still work going on for the recovery of an accident in this location. Again, westbound on I-10 near the North Freeway. Just be aware and take caution through that area. It is slow going still at this hour. Later on tonight, be ready for a nightly closure in both directions of the Southwest Freeway at the West Loop, starting at about 9 p.m. each night, reopening at 5 a.m. This is nightly through Friday. Travis?
All right. I don't know if you felt the difference, Lisa, but we had a little change. A front came through yesterday. So instead of the 100s like we had Saturday and Sunday, we had highs in the 90s. And another summer front is on the way around this time tomorrow. Now, temperatures outside are coming off that high of 95, which is average for the time of year. We've got 92 in Huntsville and Katy, 95 in Pearland, 91 currently in Angleton and Lake Jackson, 94 here in the city of Houston with a light northerly breeze. Dew point still pretty high in the 70s, but it will come crashing down with the second front arriving tomorrow evening. Galveston, you're at 93. You got close to your record high today, and everyone tied record highs yesterday when we hit 102 in Houston. Tonight we'll drop down into the lower and middle 70s north of I-10, mid to upper 70s to the south, and then tomorrow afternoon it's going to get hot with highs near 100, but it's that drier heat with the lower humidity. The first front is out in the Gulf of Mexico. That's what brought us the storms overnight, and we're seeing some more development out west of San Antonio. The second front is currently pushing through the Red River. It separates the 90s from the 80s. That's the front that'll bring us some drier air, but we don't get quite the cool down that they're enjoying up in Oklahoma. So here's Future Track, which shows the front still to our north at noon tomorrow. It's dry the first half of the day, but watch as that front activates with some showers and thunderstorms west of I-45. So it got you down for a 20% chance of rain in Houston, slightly higher out to the west, and then things will dissipate. Now, we're watching two tropical disturbances, and I think I heard the printer go off, so we might have just gotten an update from the National Hurricane Center, but both of these could potentially find their way into the Gulf of Mexico sometime next week. We just want to gently raise your awareness right now, especially with this lead disturbance, because it's the one that's most likely to enter the western Gulf of Mexico. Currently has winds of 30 miles per hour, so that's already tropical depression strength, but currently there is no closed area of low pressure. This is the potential formation zone over the next 5 days, and when you look at the computer model tracks, they do put it near the Yucatan Peninsula on Saturday around noontime. So this weekend, we may see this one emerge into the Gulf of Mexico, and we'll keep a watchful eye on it for you in case there's any potential impacts that head our way. Now, we've already gotten to the quickest Kyle arcade name on record. The next two names on the list are Laura and Marco, and it's likely that we'll get both of those over the next week and potentially both into the Gulf. A 20% chance of a downpour tomorrow. Your high temperature 98. We're looking for highs near 100 on Wednesday. And then as the moisture returns, the highs come down. So does that minor chance of rain. And next week, we will keep our eye on the Gulf for any potential impacts from those two tropical disturbances that I just mentioned. Greg?
All right, Travis, thank you. The Rockets are ready to begin the playoffs without Russell Westbrook. And Texans camp running on the turf outdoors today. We're talking with running back Duke Johnson next in sports.
Now 13 Eyewitness News with Sports Director Greg Bailey.
The Texans defense got the best of the offense in the late work today at training camp. Second-year defensive lineman Charles Omenihu really impressed late in the defensive drills. On the offensive side, Duke Johnson and the new addition David Johnson will both get plenty of opportunities to make plays out of the backfield. The up-close look is a great reminder. Duke Johnson's short, yes, but he is hardly undersized. Proving doubters wrong with that physical presence you see there, it motivates Duke every day.
My mindset when it comes to being physical is I get put in a box of being undersized and, a smaller back and, not as strong or whatever the case may be. So for me, it's just going out there and showing them that I'm not what you think I am.
The latest update on the Astros star Yordan Alvarez offers more good news than bad tonight. Alvarez got a clean MRI. That's really good news. Bad news, the knee is still sore. Alvarez is not in the lineup tonight, but could potentially pinch hit. Dusty Baker explains the issues for the Rookie of the Year are not anything new.
And I asked him, when did he start having these problems? He told me back in AA. We don't know if it was going first to third the other day or if it was on the slide.
Rockets coach Mike D'Antoni telling us Russell Westbrook is headed for another MRI today, maybe tomorrow. Bob Slovak reports the playoffs will begin without Russ, but the Rockets still expect to find a way to win and advance.
The intensity will be there. It is the playoffs, but it will be different when the Rockets and Thunder tip off game one. With no fans, it's all about pumping up your own volume.
We got to create our own energy, period. This all comes from within, in the heart, in the mind, in our souls of really wanting to win, really wanting to play basketball and be together as a unit.
It's going to be, guys making big plays, big moments, and that's what the playoffs is all about. Hopefully we'll be that team that can do it.
The Rockets again have the talent and the expectations to win it all. They've been here before, but with Russell Westbrook out to start the series, the Rockets need more than just the beard to make it happen.
I think for guys that haven't been in this position, like the Damian Houses and the Ben McLemore, guys like that, you want to just kind give them that confidence, going into the postseason. Your shots are still going to be there, and just try to limit our mistakes.
It's a team game where everybody has to play well, and of course I have to play well, and so there's a lot of other guys also. So it's going to take a collective effort.
Bob Slovak, ABC 13, Eyewitness Sports.
That will be a tough series for the Rockets, and we'll be right back.
We've been talking about it for months now. Food insecurity is a very serious concern for many families.
It certainly is. The Houston Food Bank has continued to see a need for donations during this pandemic, a huge need, in fact. And you can help right now by sending a text message. Viewers like you have raised more than $294,000. Coming from all of those people there you see on the scroll. All you have to do is just text to Give Campaign. That is more than 884,000 meals which are provided from this money. Here's how it works. Text ABC 13 to 41444 and then choose just how much money you want to give. Each dollar provides 3 meals for a family in need. It is incredible how much $1 can give. Travis?
All right, great cause there, Art. Got a new update from the National Hurricane Center that just came in on those 2 tropical disturbances. The formation chances have just increased a little bit more for each one of them, and both of them could potentially find their way into the Gulf of Mexico. The lead disturbance could reach the Gulf as early as this weekend. That's the one most likely to potentially impact Texas. We got a lot of time to watch them, and we'll keep you informed and aware in a calm fashion in the days ahead.
Okay, Travis, thank you. Of course, don't forget you can watch the Democratic National Convention recap right here on ABC 13 at 9 p.m. Top speakers seen there on your screen, including First Lady Michelle Obama. Art.
And then tonight at 10, school districts reconnecting with students. 13 investigates found school districts lost track of a lot of students during the pandemic, especially in communities of color. We're going to inform you on just how they're trying to get them back to school. All coming up as well.
And that does it for Eyewitness News here at 6:30, Art.
You can head to abc13.com to get much more on the recap of the stories. See